Today, we're going to be focusing on, again, we don't have a guest speaker for this last session. It was really more about the fact of analyzing where we've been and where we're going. I need everyone to give some feedback. So if you can, right now, if you can locate where that little button on your Zoom screen that shows where you can raise your hand, and I'm going to ask for people's feedback. If you can't give it verbally, I would love for you to give it to me and express that via your hand up and down. There you go. 𝗟𝗲𝘁'𝘀 knows exactly where it is. I love it. He's showing off. So let's go to the first screen where we've been. And guys, what I want to do is today I'm going to kind of walk us a little bit through the site, but also have an opportunity to show us a little bit more about some of the highlights of where we have been by far. And this is the part that really makes it, that's exciting to me, because I think we've stayed very much with our mission. So with that in mind, let me just slide this over. And keep in mind that, again, this here is a little bit more about mission. And I think that I've been extremely happy that we have honored that mission. And I think we need to expand on that mission. So who are we? We are a unique community of African Americans accompanied by our allies looking to encourage more individuals of color to enter the industries of performance marketing. We offer a safe place for the newly started businesses to the well-established corporations by providing various platforms for the like-minded to discuss various topics. Blacks in Performance Marketing is a community dedicated to increasing the representation, involvement, and participation of Black professionals. And I hope everybody believes that, but if you might not, again, we love to have your feedback. I think the fact is, and we're going to go through some of the timelines. I'm actually on our website. So if you have not seen our website as of late, we constantly make improvements to it. We're adding things to it. We're making sure that we stay up to speed. So for example, under the latest, you can go to events and you can see some of the events that are about to happen that we were privy to, and we'll continue to add to it. You'll see that, of course, we have Legion World there. Not sure where that picture is, but again, we have it where there's additional updates. Then we also have past events in regards to our speakers. But there's a section here within the news that I want to actually highlight, which kind of goes through our timeline. And this is all live for everyone to see. So within this section, it's really talking about what has been this year in review. Again, starting on April 11th, we actually officially changed our name. So we went from, again, being Blacks in Lead Gen to Blacks in Performance Marketing. And we actually sat back and we sent out posts in regards to that. And so this is all clickable as well. So whenever you want to go to the site, you can see it. Then, of course, the following month, we actually had Dr. 𝗀𝗀𝘀 Booker. She was actually our guest speaker. And she sat back and we actually have it where you can watch the meeting there, or you can actually talk about the fact of some of the history, what she did and what she brought to us. Then we had an incredible opportunity as a group to actually all get together in New York for Affiliate Summit East, which was great right there at the New York Marriott. We had a chance to have breakfast, quite a few of us. I think in there, I know there was Chad and several others. And I'm trying to think of here, if I click onto this, it shows us, oh yeah, we actually had it where 𝗟𝗲𝘁'𝘀, we had a couple of people. So there's a lot of pictures that have been loaded up here. I'm not gonna go through them all, but yeah, we had a good amount of fun at the actual Affiliate Summit East. Let me go back to the timeline. In here, so that was for the month of May. Then the month of June, we actually had a chop shop, and it was our first one. This was 𝗟𝗲𝘁'𝑀's kind of, I think his brainchild. And what we did was, again, that meeting went well, where we actually highlighted a few of the members of the team. And then from that point on, we sat back and we kind of found ways to start working a little bit more together, finding out exactly what each of us does so that we could sit back and engage a little bit more. Then, of course, in June, we actually had it where we had our Juneteenth, in essence, kind of a online celebration, and we did our post there. As of June 29th, we actually officially launched our website, which we are currently on right now. And again, gave us an opportunity to enhance the newsletter, along with get the word out, spread the word, Our membership actually grew. I think at one point we were at about 89 members. We went to 125 to 131, and now I believe that number is about in the 150s now, which is really, really cool. And let me share something with you guys that you probably are, of course, not aware of. But every time, let's see here, see if I can find this real quick. Oh, it doesn't give that to me. And let's see if it allows me to show this to you guys. Let's see here. And I've got multiple screens up, so hopefully it will show. Oh, okay. So you know what? I'm not sure if it will allow me to show this over it, but let's see here. What if I move this down and I actually stop this? See if it works. No. And I think it should work now. But this is every time we actually get, and oh, look at that. It will not let me show it. I guess it's because I'm on a Zoom call. But this was just to let you guys know that every time a new member joins the actual organization, I get this nice fancy email that says new member, name, first name, and all their information. And it looks nice and fancy, which I wish I could show you, but I cannot. So we actually have a lot of bells and whistles that actually come with the website along with the newsletter across the board. So that's when we launched it. That was in the month of June. July, of course, I believe July was kind of a summer month where we didn't do much. But then, of course, then we actually had it where the month of August is when we actually celebrated our anniversary. This is, in essence, marked our second year, full year, along with some testimonials that we were able to add to the website in regards to it. Month of August was the Black Business Month, where we actually had quite a few different things happen there as well. And then September, we got our first sponsor. And again, Adam was instrumental in putting that together as well. So we want to thank Adam as well for helping us with that. And that became our first sponsor, which was 𝗀𝗲𝘁'𝘀. Again, worked out well. And then, of course, we had October, the following month, we had the PACE conference, which hosted right there in Nashville. And we had the largest participation that I ever have, at least that I've ever been privy to, of African Americans attending a particular conference. Extremely impressive, set somewhat of the bar extremely high. Very proud of that. And then we're still talking about it now. And 𝗀𝗲𝘁, who was actually one of the keynote speakers there, what I think is that, and she couldn't be with us today, and then one of the reasons why she could not is because based off of her engagement with the Blacks in Performance Marketing and just being a part of the fold, she actually has had about 5 different speaking engagements over the course of the last 4 to 5 months. And so right now she's at Meharry, speaking right now to them. She just got awarded to go to Princeton University to speak to them. She's going to be speaking at several different associations as well. So this is an opportunity for us to kind of shout out one of our members and some of the success that she's been able to see. And I'm sure that others on this call might have similar success stories as well. But please, you have to share it so that we can actually document it across the board. Then, of course, for this last month of November, we actually had another guest speaker, which was Janine Uzel, the CEO of 𝗀𝗲𝘁'𝘀, and that went extremely well. We actually have it where throughout the months, we've also been able to start highlighting members. So I'm hoping that several of you have received it. And if you have received it, if you could please maybe show with your, put your hand up and tell me if you received an email from us talking about the fact of how we would want to spotlight you, or the fact is rather a member, or even people who are collaborating with us. So people who might not be members, but you wanted to sit back and we wanted to give them a face and a voice here for something for that we thought was newsworthy. We'd love to sit back and make sure. And if you have not received an email for you to become a spotlighted member, please let me know. And I will put it in, you can put it in the chat and we'll make sure that we get you spotlighted for next year. Is that fair? So appreciate that. So that kind of gives you somewhat of a history of where we have been for this past year. Now, let me just go back over to this slide and kind of bring you guys back up to speed with everything else. Does anybody have any questions so far as we're just doing the quick recap? I mean, what was anybody, I know we talked about PACE and, thoroughly, but we'd love to make sure, how many people are actually going to be going to Lead Gen World in San Diego? Show of hands or comments. There you go. Has everybody also received the invitation for the actual breakfast that we're going to be hosting? Anybody can speak to that? Again, verbally, anybody want to talk about, who's attending or who can attend? Give me some feedback as I get this next slide up. I appreciate it.
Mike, are you, I can do it if you, up to you. It's Mike's event. So we're just sponsoring the breakfast for all of our diversity groups. And so I do know that Link Unite will be there, Women of MarTech, Blacks in Performance Marketing, our Face of PACE, of course, our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility group from the Consumer Consent Council. And so we should have a good attendance there. And last year it was extremely enjoyable and rewarding to be able to get up and talk in front of the group and share our thoughts and what we're doing. And, obviously this is just a continuation of that. And so, want to thank Mike for making the space available, for considering us and making an opportunity for us to be there and to participate, and, making it even affordable for us to do. And so, a lot of kudos there on Mike to share his resources and his show with all of our groups.
By far. Thank you
I
very
would
much,
talk.
Mike.
I would add on, but I have a fire alarm going off in my house right now. I just added the thing RSVP. I'm gonna mute myself here and figure this out.
We can't hear it. We can't hear it, Mike. Just
Yeah,
oh,
we can't hear
you can't hear it? It's too high pitched.
No. Yeah.
We have a RSVP link here. We've got a meeting room designated for the group that will be behind the registration desk. Thank God it just went off. Must be no fire. There's a meeting room, like I said, behind the registration desk for this group specifically, and also Link Unite and Women in MarTech. So please utilize it. It's a great place to meet with clients, prospects. If you can't find a place, it's actually Sunset. It's called Sunset Room number 1, but you won't miss it. It's in between the registration desk and the main session hall, and we'll have a sign out front of it. So utilize that as much as you would like. Obviously, we have the tabletop for the group as well that'll be out in the foyer area, and then of course the breakfast. If please. Definitely RSVP for the breakfast. The link is in the chat. And then please share the link to any other members that may not be on the call, or anybody a part of this group, Link Unite or Women in MarTech, because we'd love to have you guys for breakfast before we kick off the conference. It's just a really great way to start the day. So that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. And appreciate it. I will tell you right now, the actual room that we had at PACE was incredible, and to know that we're going to have a very similar room now is wonderful. So loving that. I put myself off video because I wanted to show you guys exactly what we had. I didn't have a chance to take a picture of it and send it out, but if you can see right behind me, we actually got our Jiffy screen. So I'm kind of showing you based on this here. So if you're looking at my picture, my video here, you can see we have this here, and this is what's going to be displayed at the conferences. So really happy about that. So not only do we have our full overall exhibit booth, but we also have a Jiffy screen as well. So progress is happening. I'm happy about that as well. Anybody have, again, so we have the RSVP. Everybody saw the RSVP for the event. So please, let's help Mike out so that we can make sure that this is the most successful event. Each one is the most successful event that we can have. And so for him to be in a position to prepare for it, he needs those RSVPs. So please As soon as you can, fill that out. Gotcha. So now, guys, let's continue. Oh, this is something. Matt, are you still there? I can't see everybody's screen, so I want
Yes,
to
I'm
make
here.
sure. We wanted to, I was talking to a few people, and we were just talking about the fact that you seem to be extremely camera shy. And we wanted to sit back and just address that. We wanted to make sure that you felt a little bit more comfortable in this coming year of 2023 of being in front of the camera and taking pictures. But right now you were extremely camera shy, and that was reflected on the website by far. I felt like, so I hope you're gonna work on that for next year, please.
I'll stay away from the camera next year.
No, more. Just we need you to encourage more people to take pictures. So the thing that I think that we want to address is that, again, right now we actually have, like I said, about 140 to 150 members. Please, everyone, take pictures, send them in. We want to sit back, and we are a community that is growing. But again, a lot of times people might feel like they're by themselves. No one here should ever have lunch or dinner by themselves, or again, there should always be, in essence, a group. Again, let's sit back and let's pretend, let's be family. By far, let's have fun. So please send back and send videos and things of that nature. So that's an area of the site that I really started to enjoy more and more, but we definitely need pictures from everyone.
Hey, Sean,
Yes.
we're going to have some content that we recorded at Pace available soon. Dr. Booker needed to have some of that edited out because she didn't want to, some of that was her secret sauce that she doesn't want to be out there. But I think that we'll have something by the end of the week that can go up, and then any other content that we had recorded, we'll get over that's relevant so that we can share it.
Appreciate that. And we will make sure that we put anything that she approves up and get it up as soon as possible. For this next slide that I hope everyone can see, I want to highlight that on our website, we actually have a career opportunity section, which is kind of a job board, but much smaller, giving an individual opportunities that are familiar with our website to actually go there and look at opportunities that are out there. Again, right now, these are individual companies that are looking to highlight and looking to grow their companies. They have positions, and filling it with somebody perhaps of color. Guess what? This is where you would come. So right now, again, if your company right now is looking to hire, please feel free to send over to, go to the website and submit your any opening that you have. There's a chance for, again, increased diversity. But if we don't use it, again, how will others use it and how will others know? So if you actually have it where if you want to go to the website and highlight the actual URL and send it over to your HR department, just to let them know that we exist. It doesn't cost anything, but it's exposure. And happy to say that we've actually already been able to help, I think, 2 individuals get fill 2 positions to be filled via our website. So it's nothing gonna, change. It's changing lives. It's not a huge number, but we just started. So please participate. And if your company again has any openings, send us over the email and we'll get it up and running. Now for the next section, this one here is what I'm excited about. And really, I realize that I can't see everybody's hand raising and things of that nature, but I am looking for additional feedback. So here is, I'm a firm believer in setting goals for, the upcoming years, and then having in essence this huge elephant of goals, and then finding a way to kind of reverse engineer, starting from, day 1, January, all the way through. So by the end of the year, we've actually been able to achieve X, Y, Z. And so I wanted to just review some of these goals, but I would love for you guys, as you're looking at them, feel free to put into the chat any additional goals that maybe I had left off, maybe some goals that, and I will send this out to everyone here. Again, our goal here is to be able to grow. So while we're reflecting on all the things that we did for 2022, what can we do to make 2023 even better? So I'm going to go through them a little bit, and feel free again to give me your comments. You can email them to me. You can actually put them into the chat. Just need to make sure I go in there and highlight everything in the chat before we before we finish the meeting and kind of go from there. So I'll start with the financial, making sure that we do our best to get additional sponsors, looking for at least 4+. Right now we have the firm commitment of, the one with 𝗰cie. And do note, I am not initially counting the ones who have been with us forever, which again is the Rate Marketplace, the Pace or Legion World, or even Back to Learn. Those in essence are kind of grandfathered into a large degree. So I'm counting more of those additional sponsorships that would help us financially. So right now we were able to do, I think, about 2,500 for this year. Goal here is to sit back and see if we can reach 25,000. And then we figure out, again, with a financial, committee, we would actually sit back and figure out what the disbursement of those dollars would help us do. Right now, the majority of things that we actually have between the websites and the Jiffy screens and things of that nature have really just been a contribution from my behalf. But again, we're looking to grow and do some bigger things. We also got new business.
Can everybody still hear me?
I can hear you now. It just faded out for a second. Yeah.
Gotcha. Earpieces are dying.
Okay, so you should be back here. We want to sit back, and it's something that was, I think, that Matt brought up that I thought was very ingenious, is the fact is, as much as we are providing this community of growth and finding ways to be able to expand, and we've done a pretty good job with that, we also want to sit back and start monitoring the financial connections that we're making with members. Who's working with who? How are we able to expand and to grow? And so right now, a bunch of us actually are, working together again. And we brought in the past that myself and Chad actually have 2 businesses together that are growing. We've actually had it where I know Matt and Adam have had a chance to do some things. 𝗀𝗱𝗶 has been working with Rob and myself, and there's a bunch of different connections. And I think that we might create some kind of a chart to see how everybody's connected. I would love for us to put pressure on each other to sit back and say, you know what can we do to work together across the board? So if there's somebody on this, that you're seeing right now, you're looking at their picture, but you've never connected with them, reach out. Figure out exactly what we can do together. If it's attending more conferences or, joining Matt and Mike in London. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out, can I do business in London? Does it make sense? I'm not sure. What can we do to expand? So ask the questions that's necessary so we can sit back and expand together. One of the financial goals that I put here was to get membership discounts at least 10 conferences. So right now we have it at 2, but we need to expand. So there's about 8 more. And Amanda from Unite, she was actually nice enough to send over the updated list for all conferences for 2023 that at least she knows of. And there's about 50 some odd conferences already. And if anybody does not have that list, feel free to email over to myself or to Amanda, and we can provide that list. It will eventually be up on the website as well. So we'll have that list, and Mike might have it as well. So again, but the goal here is that any ones that are relevant, we would love to share that and get discounts. 𝗀𝗱𝗶?
Yeah, I got a quick idea, and I'm gonna have to run soon. So when you mentioned thinking about going to London and can you do business there, one of the things I started doing when I travel, which I don't have a system behind it, but I was thinking like, okay, if I'm headed to Nashville or Tampa, are there other Black entrepreneurs in that city while I'm in that town that I can connect with? Just as a strategy, I'd love to, but again, I haven't executed it yet. So when I think about London, especially in the context of this organization, I'm like, first thing is like, is there an African-American or an African or a Black European, is there a group of Blacks in London who already get together? So when I'm going there, is there a way we can, that's just the way I would think about it when you think about London. And so in the last time we had 𝗀𝗱𝗶, right? So maybe the same way you have this visual, you talk about how we do business together. And of course we have, Pace and Women of MarTech. So there's this performance marketing niched connection. I wonder if we could also start building a visual of how 𝗀𝗱𝗶 or, you know, Afrotech, and just any other type of African-American organizations that we are building relationships with, like you know, maybe there's insurance. Like I'm working with this guy through Adam, who's got he's insurance agents, but he focuses on African Americans. So I just found a National Association of African Americans in Insurance. So I just wonder if you could eventually start building out that kind of organizational associations of African Americans that we could have synergies with, so we could eventually get to those environments, speak about performance marketing, but just building that kind of network as well. So that's kind of some thoughts.
Love it. If you could, whenever you get a chance, if you could just shoot that in a quick email over to me, just with some blurbs, and then we can sit back and expand on it.
Yep.
Anybody else had any other additional feedback before we continue? I love it. So, and then of course we talked about the, you know, sponsoring of breakfasts. Right now, we've been fortunate enough to have it where we've got Mike and we've got, you know, Rob, who've actually been able to sponsor some breakfasts, but I'm more looking to have it where maybe there is another conference that, you know, members have not been to, that we want to grow exposure there, and we actually have maybe a breakfast there. And so that's some of the, where some of the money would actually go to use, that we're going from there. Number two, right across, was internal, getting exposure into the HBCUs, and that's something that I'm looking forward to doing, and I will actually have more feedback probably in February. But if anybody on the committee actually ever attended an HBCU and you have connections at any one, again, would love to have it where we work together. So please shoot me an email and we can talk about how we can actually place some documentation at the HBCUs, letting them know about performance marketing, so that people don't have to back into this industry. They can actually come forward knowing exactly, in essence, what they want, and make a beeline right to us. So that would be great. We talked about the job and career division. Right now, I think we have about 8 or 9 posts up there, but we'd love to have at least 15 job posting at any given time. Again, a low goal, but I think that, you know, I'm hoping that we could hit it even before June. It's really about the fact of getting the word out. Again, we talked about measuring of member connections, sponsorship presence, making sure that we do our best to be at more and more conferences by far right now, and then having pictures to document it. Again, no one here is alone, and even though we've talked about the stories of me going to an EDU conference and being one of one, or maybe one of 2, and Matt going to an insurance conference and being, you know, this may be the only African American there. Again, right now the numbers are starting to grow, but I think that people will draw and be more drawn to conferences if they knew that there were people that were, you know, look like them and they were more familiar with things of that nature. And Matt, you know what, is there anything that you could talk to about that as well, in regards to, you know, just making sure we get the word out, and so that we don't have to be, in essence, just 1 or 2?
Is that a question for me? I'm sorry.
Yes, for you. Just
okay. No. Yeah. No, I just think, I mean, this is about kind of word of mouth and networking, right? What's going to be really important for the organization is for us to continue to expose individuals to the fact that this organization exists. I know you said that, you know, you had new business cards. Like those cards should be given out at Lead Gen World to everyone that you see of color, and also allies, right? Those that are interested in being involved in helping us. I think the more exposure we can get from the individual relationships that we have with people, the more that we're going to be able to expand and grow the overall organization.
Again, and I think that, and to your point, Matt, I think the fact is that the exposure will work out well, but also making sure that everybody, allies and individuals who don't know about the organization, feel very comfortable. Because right now it's an assumption of, well, why do we need to do this? Because, you know, if they look around, they would notice that, wow, they're in essence serving individuals of color and across the board and diverse, but the individuals on this side making those marketing decisions is not diverse. And because it favors to them and not to others, they didn't think of anything being wrong. And so, you know, we actually have an extremely bold name of Blacks in Performance Marketing for a reason. Again, our goal here is to be bold, and to also make sure that others feel very comfortable with it by far. So I think and people will become that way.
Really quick, and I love this. I think, we've talked about it. We started down that path, and then I think we got so busy with conferences. I'm just going to pipe back over to what we were saying about doing more business with each other. And sometimes we don't know what that means. Adam and I got on a call together, gosh, it's been months ago, and we talked about some things, and then, we just get busy and those things fizzle out. We're so busy moving forward that we don't make those times and connections to really re-engage how we can be working together. In the last 2 or 3 months, I'll say 3 months tops, I had a chance to kind of bring Jessie over. Will Cash is now here. Roger's in the Bahamas working on standing up some call centers. These are all individuals that I currently partner with in other businesses that never even consider themselves lead generators or performance marketers or anything, but that's what they do in their own world. Whether it's our real estate brokerage firm with Jesse down in Miami and the work that he's done in credit repair and now in education, now moving over into the other industries. Will was with me, actually. Mike got Will and myself one of our first contracts together under one of our companies for a large lead generation company that he went into when he first moved into the lead gen space back in 2009, 2010. So like all these creative connections, Roger comes from the education world, and we're trying to bring on more call centers from Jamaica and from the Bahamas. And so he's over there teeing up those relationships. Like, it may not even be directly that we can, you're buying leads or I'm selling leads or whatever, but like someone may need a call center, and we've got access to call centers all around the world. I may have a great relationship in mortgage, and I know that, Matt is the mortgage, all things expert. I think in addition to what we're seeing here and what we're doing, which is phenomenal, because none of these conversations would be happening right now had we not taken this step almost 2 years ago to build this group. But it's like now, like for 2023, how can we lift each other up? Because if we're doing that, the rest is going to take care of us. We're going to have people begging to be a part of this when they see the success and the growth that comes from us, like actively working to figure out how to support one another in our multiple and varied endeavors. And it may not even be our current businesses. We may be standing up businesses together that we didn't even think about starting before. And I want us to really put that wind into our sails going into 2023, because I think that's where we're going to see the highest level of success, is when we can raise the overall growth success individually and collectively of all these members. It's going to be so much easier to bring more members in. And like you said, let's start tracking it. Let's talk about how much extra revenue, or we brought clients and contracts and income we brought as a group. I really, really love that. And I think that can be a huge factor. Had it not been for this group, and I promise I'm done, like I probably wouldn't have reached back out to Jesse to say, hey, let's get you back over here on the lead side. I wouldn't reach back out to Will, right? We're doing separate stuff, but this gave me a collective unit to say, man, we need to start doing more business together in as many productive ways as possible. And it's caused us to stand up a lot of joint efforts. And I want to do that with everyone, for everyone, even if I'm not directly involved. So, I don't know what that looks like. How do we make that a cornerstone of everything else that we're doing? In a very, very, very specific, right, proceduralized way. I don't have an answer, but I'm all into grabbing the reins and driving it.
I have a couple of comments I just want to make to this point. Number one, do we have a member directory anywhere?
We do. Not public, but I can get it over to you.
So something to think about just as we go into next year, right? Maybe we put this on the roadmap, but literally creating a member directory that also highlights kind of what the specialties are or areas of the individuals that are on or that are in this committee or in this group, right? That's one idea. The other thing, which is separate from all of this, is around the financial side of things. One thing we might want to consider is individual donations back into the group. right? Well, it's going to be, you know, we have some work to do in order to get other corporate donations. But even if it's $100 per person, right? I mean, something where it's not too much, it's just something to cover a lot of the expenses that are going on right now that I know, Sean, you're covering. You know, as a group, I think we're all beginning to see the value that this has and the legs that it has long term. You know, I think that if there are individual contributions that could be made, you know, we should allow that to happen as well.
Excellent. And I guess to that point, I think what we'll do is we will assign we'll probably have a meeting that focuses on just certain key things like that, because that would be something where we want to make sure that we take an overall vote in regards to. Right now, again, me covering this is something dear and, you know, close and dear to my heart, as you guys know. And again, being able to see the growth thereof. I think that, you know, so I'll continue to do whatever I can. What going back to something that Chad mentioned as well, is that, guys, there are, you know, we need to not only continue to do business together and grow it, but we also need to make sure that it becomes a little bit more public. A lot of times we find out we have successes in private, and sometimes they talk about move in silence across the board and build up what you're doing. But when it comes to, we don't maybe necessarily have to share all the numbers and the dollars and cents, but we can actually share the actual connection. Because right now I sat back and I was, I can't see it if he's here, but if Earl is still here, I was yelling at Earl over the course of the last month or so, because I found out that his company had this incredible product that I didn't know, that I wasn't aware of. I had to find out from somebody else. Actually, I found out from Terrence, who told me about Earl. And then I'm like, and so now me and Earl actually signed a contract, again, 5 figures and growing, across the board to do business together. And so I find myself sitting back, and now, yes, I do business with Terrence and Chad and, you know, and Earl, and the list goes on, and Adam again, but I want that for everyone. That's just me being extremely vocal, saying, what do you do? How do we you know, and trying to sit back and get people on the phone and say, you know what, let's just talk. Because there might be something that you're doing that I'm not aware of that might have some incredible synergy. So again, you know, what we've been talking about is just really personifying again, the fact is that, yes, there is so much work that we can do together. There's so much money that we can make by working together. But if you don't know, like, for example, again, and I think I sat back and Tony does some things here that, again, I'm still trying to tweak, like, exactly what do you do? Or, you know, again, or I'm sitting back and having lunch with Marna about the fact of what can we do for 2023. Guys, let's communicate. And let's reach out to each and every member across the board and find ways to grow. And
sorry, Sean, just wanted to just hop in really quickly. I think having the chart and showing the connections is a great way to just visually tie everything together really quickly. So everyone that's in this group could actually see it, and then have it public facing would be super helpful.
With, you know what, and we're already working on it. If you've ever seen the our LinkedIn page, where it actually has images and it has all of these lines connecting the images, right now I have my graphic artist actually working on that. It's just, again, ultimately I have her extremely busy on working on ads for you, or, you know, in our projects and things of that nature. So as she gets a little bit more free time, she will sit back and develop something to that nature as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I hope that for individuals who are not currently working with others, you might see your circle and it have no connections. And I'm hoping maybe that will encourage you to sit back and say, oh my gosh, I gotta have it. Chad can't be the only one with 20 connections, or because, you know, or because everybody knows Matt, there's a connection, or, oh, but yeah, you know what? Everybody who attends Lead Gen World, we're connected in essence to Mike. So, you know, just trying to find ways to make that happen. Mike, you have your hand up?
Yeah, Sean, I wrote it in the chat, but I figured sometimes it'll disappear too. Maybe we do like a quarterly, like who's who or what do you do call, you know, where each person gets 3 minutes just to say what you do, because I think it's like for me, it's a muscle memory type of thing, going, okay, I remember, okay, Chad does this, because I'll forget, you know, I'll forget over time. But being able to, like, especially when we have new members, 3 minutes, and maybe it's separate from this call, but hop on it to 3 minutes about what you're doing, what services you offer, or something like that, where it's timed and we spend an hour to an hour and a half and just kind of revisit what everybody does. I know that would be beneficial to me, but that's just an idea.
No, absolutely love it. Again, keep in mind, so we'll set up a schedule for all of our meetings for this coming year, 2023. I'll send that out with suggestions based on things like this as well. So you'll notice that I actually have it where under other on the screen, I actually have it where getting at least 5 speakers and asking for suggestions. So just in our conversation, things happen. So for example, 𝗟𝗲𝘁'𝘀 mentioned that he was talking to somebody who was part of, Blacks in insurance. And guess what? That might be a great person for them to come and invite them to come and speak with us across the board. So again, just looking for those ideas. So if there's any guest speakers that you think that might be ideal for us, great. I actually have it where I'm in conversation with 2 people right now. One of them actually has it where the CEO of this company, she actually does major surveys for Fortune 500 companies, or companies have at least 750 employees up. And what they do is they do a diversity survey that is like 20 something pages. And at the end of the day, they pretty much let you know, how you're doing, compared to, how's Home Depot compared to Lowe's? And are you winning? Are you losing? Things of that nature. So right now, I'm just trying to get her to do it for us for free, opposed to, again, a paid speaking engagement. So wish me luck there. But again, it's a constant amount of work. And I think anybody who's hosted meetings like this, and Matt, I'm sure, can attest to it very well, it's challenging. I mean, right now we've been finding speakers, and I've been finding speakers for 2+ years now. And so now trying to get it where I'm running out of ideas to some degree, but that's why we need everybody's participation and help. I know, and Earl is trying to help me out as well as to get more people to come in. But if we had 5 speakers, 5 of our meetings were with speakers, and then we have other meetings that we would actually have the chop shop, along with that, the fact of just reminding each other what everybody does, because if sometimes, we will forget, or maybe there's a new product that you have that would be great for you to announce to everyone. Let's do it.
Hey, Sean, one thing that I've been thinking about, because I know that we end up, oftentimes crossing paths in terms of speakers, somehow between Face-to-Face, Consumer Consent Council, DEI, and Blacks in Performance Marketing, we may need to figure out ways that we can come together to have single monthly speakers that are sponsored by all 3 organizations. Mm-hmm. Because I know the challenge that I'm running into as well is that I'm running out of ideas for speakers that allows it to be of value to the audience, right? And so I think we should probably start to come together, me, you, and Rob Marshall, to talk about how do we bring this all together.
Love it. Again, let's do it. So if you want to sit back and make that arrangement, I will tell you right now, probably the biggest one that I'm working with, I just mentioned, and I just wanted to pull up her information, but it is the CEO of diversityinc.com.org. I'm sorry, .com. And so she is currently right now, her COO, who is a good friend and frat brother of mine, he will do it, but he's trying to get her to do it because she's the public speaking one more and more. But right now, probably by tomorrow, I will know if she or he can do it for the month of January, which will be exciting because now you're talking about a company that's completely built off of the fact of adding diversity to major companies. And there's a product that they actually have that is completely free. So every company, even, all small companies can actually take the survey and get a good feel for how you are doing and then rank that against others. And they'll be able to use that, use that as well. But their main service is going in and working hand in hand with HR departments. But there is, again, I think that would be a great speaker for all of us to have one thing to another. So I'm trying to convince her to, come on board. So we'll see. I might have to bring you in as well.
Yeah, the other thing with that, though, is that it allows us to promote the organizations in order to increase membership. within them.
Mhm.
Right? Because I can tell you that, the 20, 30 people that we have on consumer consent are different than the individuals that we have here,
Mhm.
right? So why can't we bring this to 50 people per call, right?
Yep.
And even do the same for others. But I think that there's a way that we can do this all together, because I think from a content standpoint, we're all trying to convey the same message and information.
I think that would be great. So, man, if you can just work through the
Yeah.
fact that right now,
Yeah.
of course, our membership is very open, where we invite and we want everybody. But I believe we have to come to rather the PACE conference or committee meeting by invitation. So,
Right.
is it opened up on both sides? You'd have to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll work through that. But I just think
Okay.
that's something we should just put in the parking lot, as far as like,
Yeah.
let's create a way for us to do this. Because I think it provides value to all organizations.
Agreed. I'm writing that down as we speak. So, guys, we have just about 10 minutes left, and it's amazing how time flies. Again, I will send out this information over to everyone, and you feel free to look at it and respond to the email across the board. And again, just sitting back into some housekeeping things as far goes, should we be incorporated or an LLC to the group, bank accounts, things of that nature. And then, of course, on the audience side, just expanding our reach. So, guys, when you do see our, promotions on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, feel free to forward it over if you like it or whatever it is. Make some comment across the board. We'd love that engagement, because again, anything that we can do to get more people involved in it would be wonderful. Right now, when we left the PACE conference, we actually ended up getting, I think, about 13 more members to the actual group, which was great. We were able to help one individual woman to actually get a job. So there were benefits. I'm hoping that at every conference, we can see that kind of growth. I think that's when we got introduced to Tony and a bunch of other people, and it was great. Great, let's keep it going. The movement is here. And so in conclusion to that, we have it where, start by doing what's necessary, then what's possible, and suddenly you'll find out, you're doing the impossible. And guys, what we thought maybe, 4 or 5 years ago was maybe impossible, that we would always be just one of 2 or one of 3 or one of 4. Now we, in essence, are one of at least 50. Again, that's tremendous growth, and there's more to come. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that we're not aware of that are right there working at companies that are connected to us that we're just not privy to. So please continue to promote the overall group, and let's find ways to continue to grow. But I wanted to make sure that we spent a good amount of time in this meeting just rehashing, what have we done? How have we been fruitful? What have we accomplished? And we did accomplish some good stuff. And then what do we have planned for next year? And again, this year is, these are my ideas that I've taken from others that I've spoken to on the phone. Please feel free to add. Everybody here has a voice by far. I might end up talking a lot, but believe you me, I am listening and I'm taking notes, and anything that I forget, please rehash it with me, and so that we can make a major adjustments and kind of go from there. So in closing, I want to say thank you guys so much for your participation. Thank you for being who you are. Members, allies, we need everybody's participation. And let's go into 2023 and blow 22 out of the water. As good as it was, let's make it where 2023 is going to be spectacular. And I can tell you right now, based on just on a personal note, based on the connections that I'm making just with members in this group right now, I'm overjoyed. I want everybody to feel some of that joy by far. So if you're not connected with people, please get connected. There is a lot to be learned. There's a lot of growth that you can have and kind of go from there.